Hey, welcome back to my Artist Talk series. This is the second part of the series. I wanted to talk about the process of one of my biggest paintings I've ever made, which is the water lilies painting that I have hanging above my bed. And I believe it's a 5 by 6 foot painting on canvas cloth. So when I first made this painting, I was in college. I was in Humboldt University at the time. And the way that this painting was created is one day after class, I went to go do some acid. I went to go do some acid with my boyfriend at the time. And it was one of the strongest tabs I've ever had. Prepared myself a little artist nook where I laid out pastels, I laid out color pencils, crayons, a sketchbook, charcoal pencils, pens, anything you can think of for mediums I had on me. As I'm sitting down on this big bed with all these utensils to use, I'm listening to music on really loud on the TV, and it sounds really funny to me and stuff, so I'm getting the giggles, which which is really hard to stop, and you have to use all of your mental capacity to stop giggling. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my sketchbook. I'm looking at that sheet of paper that I have on my lap, and I keep staring at it, and I see that these images, these things that want to come out of the paper. So I'm not sure if I grabbed a black or a purple crayon, and I just started chiseling my way through that paper. And I'm saying chiseling because the way that I was perceiving the images on that paper it felt like I was working with marble, or I was working with wood, and I had to chisel my way into creating this image, this beautiful image that I saw in the paper. So I'm using my crayon, and it's not even sharpened. It's like this dull crayon, and I get so excited and giddy because I see it's these little ducks, and I start to see some water, and I see this beautiful Japanese bridge, and these fluffy trees that are overflowing and needed to be cut, and these cattails, and all that. And so that's how I made the idea for the painting. And when you look at the painting, you can definitely see my inspiration from Monet's paintings of the water lilies and the Japanese bridges. But that painting is actually based on the water park that's near my house here in Los Angeles. So the next day I went to some art store around the area, and I found some canvas cloth. I found like a really large piece of canvas cloth, and it was a really huge piece. I honestly didn't know what I was doing, what I was getting myself into when I started this project. And so I took it home, and I think I tried to paint on it with acrylics, and I didn't like the texture. And I also realized that I needed to fill in those holes that cloths usually have. And so I realized I needed to have a layer of gesso on it. So I did the layer of gesso, and that took a really long time. I think that took me a couple of days because after the first layer dried, I had to layer on a second one and even a third, and after that I had to wait for it to dry and sand it down so it's nice and smooth. So after I did that, I went in with my charcoal pencils to do just a nice simple outline of the bridge and where I wanted the ducks, where I wanted the majority of the trees and the bushes to be, and where I wanted to stop the painting. So I didn't cover the whole painting with gesso because I really like the idea of having raw canvas visible to the eye, and I also wanted pieces of gesso to be showing as well. So I kind of want people to see the process of my painting when they look at it. So after I did the gesso layers, I finally got to use my oil paints on it, and at the time I did end up buying a lot of tubes of oil paint at Michael's, and that was really expensive because oil paint is one of the most expensive paintings I've ever tried. I also needed a lot of gal kit and a lot of paint thinner as well. I also had to buy like some really thick brushes because this required really big, broad, thick strokes, and my measly little brushes wouldn't work for that. So overall, this painting was very expensive and very time consuming, but I really enjoyed just getting things wrong and trying to learn how to do things the right way without looking things up. I didn't really know any other artists at the time who did oil paints, so I was just kind of winging it. I ended up finishing it by the time I came back to South LA and COVID started. And now it's just hanging in my bedroom, but it's really expensive, and if I don't know if I could ever part with it. Thank you for tuning in and listening to my story. I'll see you guys again.